Okay, back to the car. I've got a very simple game here at the moment. It's not really a game, but sprites. I'm going to create a new sprite. SPR enemy, edit sprite. I'll quickly create a sprite here. It's going to be 64 wide by 32 high. It's the same as the other one. And I'll zoom in on this. I'll make it interesting. So let's do this, and I'll fill it with black. So like that. Let's give it some grey wheels on the side. I'm going to do this really quickly. It's going to look a bit hideous, and I can add some other stuff to it as well later, but I'll just give it some windows now, and then draw some lines at the front so I know that's the front of the car there. Alright, I could draw some other things on it, that's fine. That's my car, my bad guy car. Click tick. Sprite enemy, make sure the center is there so it rotates around the center. I'm going to make an object for this, so obj enemy. Now some of these things I won't do in code. This is not one I'm going to do in code, and I'm going to just close that. Now I'm going to create a path, and this path is going to wind around here, so create a path. And this can be a little bit tricky because I can't actually see where I want it to go. So I've got to kind of place it here and think about where it's going to be all laid out. I can do a smooth curve, which is probably what I want. And I can curve this around here, and we'll add some more points to our path. I'm just thinking about where it's going behind. That's a bit weird there, so we'll bring that up to there. And for each of these points, I can kind of add extra points in there, make it curved. I'm not sure why it's kind of giving me that there. But I can curve it around, add extra points. They're going a bit haywire up the end there. I might need to click it back here. No, still going to add more points up there. But here's my curve. Hopefully that's curvy enough. I might have to pull some of these out, make sure they match my racetrack. There's a lot of these here. And I could do straight lines or curved. I want it to be curved. I'm going to say path 1. Now I can make multiple paths and have them pick a random one to start with, but I'm just going to click tick and put my bad guy in this room. He's going to start here next to me, and I'm going to give him add event, create, and I'm going to make him travel along a path. So this one here is set path. Set path, path 1, speed, make him go speed 3. At the end, continue from the start. And this should be, I think we'll just have to make it relative, so we'll just check and see what happens. So when I go in there, he's traveling along that path, not very well at the moment. I might have to make it absolute. And you can see that he's traveling along that path. It's not a very well done path by any means, but he is traveling along the path. Now, in terms of direction, and this is where prototyping is going to come in handy, because that's too high up there, of course, so I'm going to have to bring those down a little bit, and then when I run it, it's traveling along it a bit better. I'm going to need a step event, and I'm going to set the image angle, which is this one here, angle to direction, the direction that he's traveling in. And hopefully When it rotates, it rotates. Okay, so depending on which direction he's traveling in, it's going to rotate that car sprite. Now I could have multiple paths set up, and it goes a bit wonky up there. I could have multiple paths set up, and every time he goes through a new lap, maybe he picks a different path at the end of it, or at the start of the game he picks a path and sticks to that path. There's some speed things that I could change here. So set a path. I think the default speed is 8, so maybe I want to set this to 9. This car's just a bit faster than my guy. Okay. And so he's a bit faster, but I can get the boost and get that edge on him up there. Okay. I could make it so that he collides with me. I get destroyed or I get set off. Maybe he's some invincible car, a tractor or some sort of thing like that. But there's very simple artificial intelligence for something simple like that there. Some of you may have played a game in class where it did follow a path, except it just went straight there and then straight down and straight across and straight back up. Very, very basic. You want to make it at least a little bit believable. So that's why having multiple paths and having him pick a different path each time might be a good idea. There's no way to add kind of separate bits. You can right click will delete some of these as well, by the way. So there's no way to add separate bits to it. So if I wanted him to kind of pick a different route, there's no way to do that. But you can modify these. So if you double click one or right click one of these here, sorry, it'll delete that particular point on the path. And so I can set it up like that. And now that might be a bit more realistic. Okay, so he's going around that track there. Now in this case, it's probably in my best interest to actually scale these. So scale, maybe halve it. Okay, and then transform images, transform, resize canvas to 50% as well. And same with the other sprite too. I have to click center there. And this guy here, transform, scale, halve, transform, resize canvas, 50. Click OK. Click OK. And now that path will still work, so he's still going to be going that way. But now it's going to be a bit easier for me to actually pass him eventually. I'm going to need to catch up because he does go faster than me, but I can take shortcuts that he can't. Alright, so there's some very basic AI for those 3 different games. What we're going to do next is look at actually creating a game from scratch. So we've gone through a whole lot of different tools at the moment, looking at how to code things, looking at how to code things in drag and drop, the basic building blocks of a game. And now we're going to look at creating a simple game that you're probably familiar with. So that'll be the